The story of Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of tragedy in itself, following the slow and painful death of Arthur Morgan as he clings on to what's most important in life, trying to be a better person. But his story is not the only one. For those who explore the open world of RDR2, they may come across scenes which can be difficult to fathom, and today we're going to be exploring a few times that tragedy struck the general population and piece together the events of what happened. Welcome to the video. You're listening to Phil of Philby Gaming. If you enjoy the following, you all know what to do, and if you're new here and aren't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. And without further delay, let's get on with today's content. Red Dead Redemption 2, a tale of tragic events. Osmond Grove. A little southeast of Emerald Ranch, there's a small cottage known as Osmond Grove. From an outside perspective, the place still looks occupied as chickens roam the attached garden, but as the player draws closer, they may notice smoke funneling out from the front door of the property. Upon attempting to gain access, you'll become aware that the entrance is locked tight, which can be overcome by either kicking the door down or using a lockbreaker. Upon entry, a ghastly scene will befall the player. A family of 5 lay dead, seemingly caught on the spot. A grandmother sits in a rocking chair in the corner, a mother lays deceased on the floor, and a father is sprawled across the dining room table. Upstairs lay the remains of a potential grandfather, but most tragically of all, a young boy, possibly no more than 5 or 6 years old, clutched onto his toy horse as he met his final moments. But what exactly caused the unfortunate demise of the family? Well, inspecting the property will reveal the most obvious answer. To the rear of the home, in the kitchen area, there's a stove with a broken pipe, forcing smoke into the cottage. With only one window that's been closed and both doors locked tightly, the toxic gas had nowhere to go, eventually filling up the small room, causing the inhabitants to pass from what was more than likely carbon monoxide poisoning. This seems an open and shut case, but is there more to the story than meets the eye? Let's take a closer look at the property once more. Upstairs to the property, there are only 2 beds. Now this is a family of 5, so where exactly did everybody sleep? The family lives off the land, as indicated by the chicken pen outside and the chopping block, so was there no incentive to build an additional room to the home? I guess the older in-laws may have come visiting, but still, where would the child sleep? He seems a little old to be bunking with his parents. Secondly, there's quite a substantial amount of alcohol about the place. Was the father of the family a heavy drinker? Was he depressed, tired of life, and only saw one way out? Did he commit the murder of his own family by breaking the pipe and locking the doors? If not, how did he manage to not notice the broken pipe himself and the room filling with smoke? The eyes of the victims are all wide open, indicating they were caught by surprise. Did he gather the entire family around and poison them before releasing the carbon monoxide filled smoke into the room? These are some of the unanswered questions to Osmond Grove and the death of the family. Clawson's Rest. Northwest of the town of Valentine, just off the Dakota River, players can find a second one-story structure known as Clawson's Rest. Similar to Osmond Grove, the place is locked up tight. This time, the windows are boarded too. Once inside, by using whatever methods possible, the player will discover a sight even more harrowing than the previous. Laid deceased upon a bunk bed are 2 young boys. What caused the death of these children? Examining the room may answer that. In a drawer next to an adult-sized bed, there's a letter addressed to the boys, which reads as follows. Glenn and Eddie, I've gone to track down those men and get our money back. The door's locked and the windows are boarded shut. Promise me you won't answer to nobody who comes calling, even if you think you know them. There's enough food and water for 4 days or more, but I should be home by tomorrow night at the latest. Practice your reading and writing for me. All my love, Mama. The mother never made it back home to her offspring, leading to the boys running out of supplies and eventually starving to death. We can see this by the empty food cans strewn about the place. But it still begs the question, what happened to the mother and why didn't she return? The answer may lie somewhere that you may not realise. Shea Porter. At the farmland of Shea Porter lives a peculiar family who somewhat speak in their own dialect. Locals are known to be terrified of both the residents and the place itself. Sneaking up to the property, the player can overhear a conversation between a couple of the family members that goes as follows.
We has that one we keeps in the woods. Pappy was boiling when he sees her, don't you?
Oh, what the hickory's her name now?
Digs her up an ass, don't you?
The female they are referring to, the one buried out in the woods somewhere, potentially looks to be the mother of the 2 starved boys who came to Che Porter to retrieve stolen cash, but ended up deceased instead, only to be later dug back up and used for their sick pleasure. After putting the family down and searching the grounds, I couldn't find a gravesite of any sort, but I did find something else that may indicate the mother's final resting place. In one of the cabins at the farmland, there's a map with a magnifying glass resting upon it, indicating a location in the world. Now, as stated by the brothers, their father was incredibly angry at them for the kidnapping of the woman, so it makes sense that he wouldn't allow her corpse to be buried anywhere near their home, as to avoid drawing attention. So let's look at where the map leads us. The exact centre of the magnifying glass hovers above New Hanover, right near the Vandalin gang's earlier camp of Horseshoe Overlook. But what else is at this location? The burnt remains of the forest caused by a brush fire. Is it possible that the family buried the mother in this area and then set fire to the location as to destroy any evidence of her whereabouts? No one truly knows for sure. Martha Swain. For our last tragic tale today, we're heading west of Ansberg, not far from the Camisar River. Off the trail, players can come across a residence marked on the map as Martha Swain. The home is unlocked, unlike the previous 2. Upon entry, you'll immediately come across the corpse of a lady, whose skeletal remains indicate that she's been here for some time. There's not a great deal in the home, aside from some provisions, a whole bunch of cobwebs and some family photographs, but there is a letter addressed to the homeowner, Martha, from one Garfield. It reads as follows. August 17th, 1864. My dearest Martha, I miss you so much. Life makes sense when we are together. The war no longer makes sense to me. When I signed up, oh, it seems like 1,000 lifetimes ago, everything seemed so simple. We were going to express our rights as states to do as we got damn well pleased and hang whatever fools in the north told us. I cannot believe that this was a principle I would die for, and yet it is a principle I have seen so many men I grew up with be slaughtered for, that and their own stupid pride. We Southerners are such proud fools. Now I am only proud about one thing, the love I share with you. You, a Yankee, an abolitionist. Everything I am supposed to hate and now love so dear. How can you love me back when I am such a fool? I cannot wait for this war to end. I thought many times about running away, but General Harris has taken to shooting deserters. I am still too proud to allow for that. It seems we are heading towards an enemy camp in Scarlet Meadows for one last battle. We have almost no chance of winning. Our morale is entirely spent, and the Yankees are far too strong. But after the accusations of cowardice levelled against General Harris and his failure to support General Quinn last month and all that drama, he seems hell-bent on a fight. I even overheard Major Smith complaining in the officers' mess about General Harris. None of his junior officers trust him very much anymore. I hope I do not die, not because I care to fix for myself, but because of the sadness it would bring you. I miss you. Yours, Garfield. The battle in which the letter refers is that of Boulder Glade to the south in Scarlet Meadows, which was fought some decades prior to our findings. The remains of the bloody battle between the north and the south are still there, whether that be for memorabilia purposes or the fact that no one really wishes to visit these bad memories, it's unclear. Maybe it's because the area is said to be haunted by the poor souls who lost their lives during the ferocious battle, which some say you can hear their cries during stormy nights in the trenches. It's just off this site that the player can in fact find the remains of Martha's lover, Garfield. The bayonet through his abdomen may very well represent that his intention to flee his post and return to Martha was uncovered, and he was killed for his betrayal. On his person is a second letter, this time addressed from Martha to himself. It goes on to say the following. October 8th, 1864. Darling Garfield, I hope this letter reaches you before the battle of which you spoke. How dare you talk of getting yourself killed, you silly, proud, wonderful man. There is nothing finer than someone who can grow and develop and let go of all prejudices and lies, and that is the man you are, and that is why I love you so. But at the same time, you are a pig-headed, stubborn barbarian. Run away from the battle, stop fighting and come to me. The war is over. Do not get yourself killed for a silly general's desire to prove he's not a coward. Be a coward for all I care and run away. Come to me, I am waiting for you. All my love, Martha. His willingness to abandon his duties were possibly discovered through this letter, and the cowardly general made an example out of Garfield after not only learning of his intentions, but also referring to the superior as a coward. Was the discovery of this letter what led to the death of Garfield, causing his beloved Martha to pass of a broken heart? It seems likely. If you guys enjoyed today's video, you all know what to do. Let me know in the comment section below what discoveries you've come across that have left you with more questions than answers. If you wish to see more content such as this, be sure to let me know that too. If you're new here and aren't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. With that being said, you've been listening to Phil. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.